The doctors said there was no brain activity, but I was not gone. I was in the most important meeting of my life. And what I was shown in those 6 minutes that the medical team said should have left me a vegetable if they brought me back, had all changed everything I thought I knew about prayer provision and the hidden door that God has been holding open for you right now. I am Rabbi Shimon. I am 83 years old. I have spent 6 decades studying Torah, Talmud, Kabbalah, every letter of every sacred text our sages preserved through fire and exile and impossibility. And I am telling you today, with the full weight of everything I have seen and studied and lived, nothing, not one teaching in all those decades, prepared me for what God showed me on the other side. Before I go any further, I need you to do something. Type the word chai in the comments right now. Chai, life, because that is what this teaching is about. Life breaking through where death has been sitting. Provision breaking through where lack has been ruling. If you are watching this, if something in your spirit pulled you to press play on this video today, you need to type Che right now and press that like button. Every person who engages tells the algorithm to find one more soul who is crying out in the darkness tonight. One more person who has been praying and wondering why heaven feels like brass. You might be the reason they find this. So type Chai, hit like, and stay with me. Because what I am about to show you has been hidden in plain sight for 3,000 years. And God is releasing it now for you tonight. 6 months ago, I was in my study. It was an ordinary Thursday morning. I had been fasting since sundown the night before preparing for Shabbat, as I have done for 60 years. I sat down at my desk with a cup of tea I never finished, and I felt something strange in my chest. Not pain exactly, more like a door closing, and then the lights went out. The paramedics said my heart stopped for 6 minutes and 14 seconds. My wife, blessed be her memory of that terrible morning, said she found me slumped at my desk, still holding my pen. The doctors at the hospital were not optimistic. Prolonged cardiac arrest, no oxygen to the brain. They spoke to my children in the hallway in hushed voices that carried through the walls, but I was not in that room. I was somewhere else entirely. The first thing I noticed was the silence. Not the silence of an empty room, the silence of everything that is not God, falling completely away. All the noise of the world, the worry, the striving, the endless human scrambling, gone. And in its place, a presence so vast and so intimate that I cannot find words adequate to describe it. It was like standing inside the answer to every question I had ever asked. And I saw light, not the light of the sun. This was a light that carried information, that carried love, that carried the complete history of every soul that had ever drawn breath. And within that light, I understood something I had read 10,000 times, but never truly seen. There is a prayer in the Torah, a prayer so ancient it predates the exile in Egypt, a prayer that King David encoded into one specific psalm, not as poetry, not as comfort for the grieving, but as a spiritual key, a precise mechanism that, when used correctly, opens what the Zohar calls Sha'ar HaParnasa, the gate of provision. And I want you to understand something before I reveal which psalm this is, because I know what you are going to think. I know the name of the psalm, and I know your reaction when you hear it. You're going to think you know this one. You have heard it at funerals. You have seen it embroidered on pillows. You think this is familiar territory. And that familiarity is exactly what has kept its power locked away from you. The great Baal Shem Tov once said, "The Torah is not read by the eyes, it is read by the soul. And the soul only opens when the mind admits it does not yet understand." When I first heard this teaching as a young student in Krakow, I thought I understood what it meant. I did not. Not until I was floating in that light, being shown the thing that had been hiding from all of us in plain sight, did I finally understand. You think you know this psalm. You do not. Not yet. But you will. Before this video ends, you will never read it the same way again. The psalm is Psalm 23. I know. I can feel your reaction. But stay with me. Because what the rabbis of the ancient world understood about this psalm, what was taught in the hidden chambers of the Beit Midrash, what was preserved through persecutions and exiles, what the Kabbalists encoded in their commentaries, has nothing to do with the gentle shepherd you picture from Sunday school. This psalm is a declaration of war against poverty. This psalm is a legal document presented before the heavenly court. This psalm is David hiding in a cave surrounded by desperate men, every creditor in Israel hunting him down, and choosing in that exact moment of total financial impossibility to declare a present tense reality that had not yet appeared in the physical world. He does not say, "The Lord will be my shepherd." He does not say, "I hope the Lord is my shepherd." He says, present tense, declarative, absolute, "The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want." The Hebrew word is lo echsar, not a wish, not a prayer, a legal declaration. Lo, it will not be. Echsar, lacking, deficient, insufficient. David is standing in a cave with nothing, and he is declaring into the spiritual realm, insufficiency has no jurisdiction over my life. And here is what the ancient teachers understood, what I was shown in those 6 minutes on the other side. That declaration spoken with true emunah, true faith, not optimism, not positive thinking, but the bone-deep certainty of a man who has encountered the living God. That declaration creates what the Kabbalists called a tzinor, a channel, a pipeline between the realm of infinite divine abundance and the physical reality of the person speaking. Your lack is not a shortage in heaven. Heaven has no shortage. The Zohar teaches that all provision already exists in the realm of Ein Sof, the infinite. Every dollar, every opportunity, every open door you have been begging God to create, it already exists. It is already prepared. The problem was never supply. The problem is the channel. The problem is the tzinor. And something has been blocking it. And before I show you what has been blocking it, I need you to do something right now. Stop for just a moment. Type the word shalom in the comments. Not because it is tradition, not because it makes you look spiritual, but because shalom is not just a greeting. In Hebrew, shalom comes from the root shalem, complete whole, nothing missing, nothing broken. When you type that word right now, you are making a declaration. You are saying, I agree with the reality of heaven. I agree that wholeness is my inheritance. You are aligning your will with divine will. And the rabbis teach that when a person makes even the smallest movement toward alignment, heaven moves mountains to complete the journey. So type shalom right now, and then keep watching. Because what I am about to show you is what I was sent back to say. The Talmud records something that most modern teachers skip over because they do not know what to do with it. In Tractate Brachot, the sages discuss the power of words spoken at specific times. And they say this is Talmud, this is not my opinion, that words spoken in a state of complete davekut, of cleaving to God, do not travel to God like ordinary prayers. They are already in the place where God dwells. The person speaking and the divine source are in that moment the same thing. There is no distance for the prayer to travel. There is no petition waiting to be reviewed. There is only the declaration and then the manifestation. This is what David was doing in that cave. This is why Psalm 23 is not a comfort psalm. It is a technology psalm. It is David demonstrating the state of devekut, that complete cleaving, and showing every future reader what happens when a human being stops begging and starts declaring. And this is what I was shown on the other side. I was shown a room. The room is not quite the right word, filled with what looked like scrolls of light. And I understood, without anyone explaining it, that these were prayers, millions of prayers, from people all over the world, in every language reaching upward. And I could see, and this broke my heart, I could see that many of them were not reaching, not because God was not listening, but because they were spoken from the wrong place. They were spoken from the posture of a beggar, from the consciousness of lack, and a prayer prayed from the consciousness of lack can only reinforce lack, because whatever you declare from the deepest place of your being, the spiritual realm, takes as your instruction. The great Maimonides, in his Guide for the Perplexed, wrote something that stopped me cold the first time I read it as a student. He said, the Torah does not instruct us to beg God to change what is. It instructs us to align ourselves with what already is in the divine mind. I memorized that line 50 years ago, and it was only on the other side, floating in that light, that I finally understood what he meant. God has already declared abundance over your life. The blessing is already written. The provision is already prepared. The question is not whether God is willing. The question is whether you are in the posture to receive it. And now, let me show you the 3 things I was told to teach when I came back. Because I did not come back by accident, I was sent back with specific instructions. The first thing is this: you must change your declaration before you change your circumstances. Every morning, before you check your bank account, before you look at your bills, before you let the fear speak, you must speak Psalm 23 out loud, not silently, out loud, because the spoken word operates in the physical realm in a way that silent thought cannot. When sound leaves your mouth, it enters the atmosphere. It creates vibration, and in Kabbalistic understanding, vibration is the mechanism through which spiritual reality becomes physical reality. God spoke the world into existence. The universe was created through sound. You are made in the image of that Creator. Your spoken word carries creative power that your whispered thoughts do not. Speak Psalm 23 every morning, once, not desperately, not pleadingly, not like a person begging for scraps, like a person reading the title deed to their inheritance. Like David in that cave, surrounded by impossibility, declaring a present tense truth that the physical world had not yet caught up with. Stand if you can. Standing is the posture of authority. Speak it slowly. Let every phrase land in your chest before you move to the next one. And after you finish, do not add a long prayer of petition. Just say, Father, I receive what is already mine, and then release it. The second thing I was shown is this: you must break the scarcity covenant. Now, I know that sounds strange. What is a scarcity covenant? The Kabbalists teach that over many years, of living in lack of focusing on what is missing, of agreeing with the spirit of poverty, a person forms what is called a bris with scarcity, a covenant, an unconscious agreement that says this is who I am, this is my portion, lack belongs to me, and I belong to lack. And that covenant has to be broken consciously, deliberately, with action. Here is how you break it. On 3 consecutive days, and the number 3 matters because 3 is the biblical pattern of completion and transformation. Jonah in the fish, 3 days, Esther. Fasting 3 days, the resurrection. On the 3rd day, on each of those 3 days, you must give something away. Not from surplus, from what you have. Even if what you have is small, even if it makes no logical sense. On day 1, give money, any amount, to someone who needs it. On day 2, give food or time to someone who is struggling. On day 3, give something of value you have been holding onto. And as you give, you say these words, I am not controlled by lack. I operate from divine abundance. My hands are open to give because they are open to receive. The Baal Shem Tov taught his followers something that was considered radical in his time. He said, the hand that gives is never truly empty, because the moment you release something with faith, you have declared yourself a channel of divine flow. And channels do not run dry. Only blocked vessels run dry. I have taught this principle to hundreds of people over 6 decades. I have seen it work in situations that defied every natural explanation. The giving does not create the provision through cause and effect. It breaks the scarcity covenant. It shifts the consciousness from closed to open. And in that open state, the tzinor, the channel, is clear. And what heaven has been trying to pour into your life finally reaches you. The 3rd thing I was shown, and this is the one that shook me the most, the one I have been sitting with every day since I came back, is this. The prayer that unlocks instant provision is not a new prayer. It is not a special formula that only certain people know. It is the posture of absolute trust at the moment when trust makes no logical sense. Rabbi Akiva, perhaps the greatest Torah sage who ever lived, was once asked by a student, Rabbi, why do the righteous suffer while the wicked prosper? And Rabbi Akiva answered, you see the beginning of the story. God sees the whole story. I have quoted this teaching hundreds of times. But on the other side, I was shown what this actually means. I was shown, and I do not have adequate language for this. I was shown that every moment of delay in your breakthrough has been a moment of preparation. That every closed door was not God ignoring you. It was God redirecting you toward a door whose blessing would have been impossible to receive if the first door had opened. That every period of waiting was not punishment, it was appointment. And the moment you reach the place of trusting that, not just believing it intellectually, not just quoting it as a nice idea, but actually resting in it in your bones, something unlocks. The Zohar calls it Bitachon Gemura, complete, perfect trust. And it says that Bitachon Gemura is not something you arrive at through logic. You cannot argue yourself into it. You can only surrender into it. And the moment you do, the gate opens. Now, I want to speak directly to someone who is watching this right now. I do not know your name. I do not know your situation. But I am telling you with the authority of a man who has stood on the other side and been sent back with a message. God has not forgotten you. The silence you have been interpreting as absence is not absence. It is the silence of a surgeon who has stepped away from the table not because the patient does not matter, but because the next instrument being prepared is more important than the one currently in the room. Someone watching this is 2 months behind on their rent, and they have told no one. Someone watching this has a child they have been praying for that has walked away from faith and from family. Someone watching this has a body that the doctors have given a name to that is filled with fear. Someone watching this woke up at 3 a.m. last night, not from noise, but from dread. And God is saying to that person, to you, I have seen every tear. Everyone is counted, and the provision that is already written over your life, the blessing that already exists in the realm of Ein Sof, is breaking through now. Not someday, not when you get your faith strong enough. Now, because you were sent to this video, because this is your moment of Bitachon Kimura. This is the moment where you stop waiting for your circumstances to change before you trust God, and you choose to trust God in order for your circumstances to change. Here is what I want you to do tonight. Before you go to sleep, find a quiet place. Take a piece of paper, a clean piece of paper. This is important because this is sacred work, and sacred work deserves clean vessels. And write out Psalm 23 in your own handwriting, not typed, written. Because when a declaration passes through your hand, through the pen onto the page, it becomes what our tradition calls a kitva, a written covenant, something that carries weight in both the natural and the spiritual realm. As you write each line, say it out loud. As you write, the Lord is my shepherd, say it. As you write, I shall not want, feel what that means. I shall not lack. It is not a wish. It is the title deed to your inheritance. When you finish, fold the paper 3 times, once for faith, once for trust, once for complete release, and place it in your wallet, in the place where money rests. You are not doing a superstition. You are making a physical declaration that divine provision and your financial reality are now in the same space. You are agreeing with a physical act that the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is your shepherd in the place where you feel the sting of lack most acutely. Then for 3 consecutive days, touch that folded psalm each morning when you wake and say, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He has prepared a table for me. I receive it now. That is all. 30 seconds. But those 30 seconds, spoken with Bitachon Kimura, with complete trust, will do more for your financial reality than any strategy, any extra job, any human cleverness. I want to be very clear about something. This is not magic. The great Nachmanides wrote, there is no power in objects. There is no power in words. There is only the power of the one who created all things, working through the channels that faith and obedience keep open. You are not activating a lucky charm. You are aligning yourself with a spiritual law that God Himself put in place before the foundation of the world. When you do this with true faith, you are not manipulating heaven. You are stepping into the flow that was always meant to reach you. I came back from those 6 minutes with a clarity I did not have before. The clarity is this: God is not withholding from you. The universe is not indifferent to you. The blessing is not for someone else. The open door is right in front of you. And the only thing that has ever blocked you from walking through it is the agreement you made, without knowing it, through years of disappointment and unanswered prayers, with the voice that said, this is not for you. You're not enough. Your situation is too far gone. Your past disqualifies you. Heaven is silent. because heaven has given up. That voice is a liar. And today you're ending your agreement with it. Before I close, I want to do something I rarely do. I want to speak a direct blessing over you, not in my name, in the name of the one who sent me back with this message. May the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob open over your life the windows of heaven that have been sealed by doubt and disappointment. May every provision that has been prepared for you in the realm of Ein Sof begin to break through into your physical reality. This week, not someday, this week. May the spirit of poverty that has whispered lies in your ear lose its voice in your life from this moment forward. May every debt that has sat like a stone on your chest begin to dissolve through divine orchestration, through unexpected provision, through doors you did not knock on, suddenly swinging open. May your children be protected. May your body be healed. May your mind find the shalom that passes understanding. May the people who told you it was too late be silenced by the testimony of what God is about to do in your life. You are not watching this video by accident. The teaching finds the student when the student is ready, and you are ready. Everything you have walked through, every valley, every closed door, every night of waiting, was preparation for this moment of opening. The gate of provision is unlocked. Walk through it. Now I need you to do something for me. Subscribe to this channel, not because I need the numbers, but because what I am releasing here is the teaching I was sent back to give. There is more. There are things I was shown on the other side that I have not yet taught. Ancient principles that have been waiting for the right moment to be released. And you need to be here when they come. Hit subscribe with notifications on. Share this video with one person, just one who has been struggling, because you may be the messenger God sends to that person today. When you do that, you're not just sharing a video, you're extending the tzinor, the channel, into their life. Chai, life, that is what this is about. Not just surviving, not just getting by. Life in its fullness, provision, in abundance, the table that God prepares in the presence of your enemies, overflowing for you and for your children. He is your shepherd. You shall not want. Shalom.